Welcome back to Edgework, presented by FanDuel as part of the Hammer Betting Network. I am Alex Moretto, joined here today by So Money for a one-game slate. Maybe the shortest show in Edgework history on the horizon today. I'm not complaining. Yesterday was a long one with 14 games. It's nice to get in and out with a shorter one today. We will recap yesterday's best bets, though, and since there is only the one game, we'll have a bit more time to kind of break them down, talk about the league as a whole, talk about that wild Canucks game, that wild Habs game, some wild games elsewhere, some pretty crazy results as well. We'll get into all of that stuff. Before we do, Puckheads, the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and FanDuel is bringing you the best bets on the ice. Get in the lab when you make your same-game parlay by checking out FanDuel's player performance pages that track stats and averages all your favorite players. Once you know who's cooking, add shots on goal, points, assists, or even goalie saves to your SGP. Missed puck drop, you can still tap in with live same-game parlay and period-specific player props. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel Sportsbook and make every moment more. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right. So Money, 4-3 last night on our best bets. You know what? I'll start adding in the no-goal parlay here. 5-3 if you add in the no-goal parlay, because we did cash that again. But 4-3 on the best bets, sides and totals. Could have been better, I guess. I don't think it could have necessarily been worse. I think we were kind of, I mean, I will say the Islanders game maybe a little bit fortunate for yourself to get that Islanders one home. A little bit disgusted for myself to not get the Habs 2 points. But otherwise, the Lightning, great close on that. A great close on the Isles number 2. Good close on that Tampa Dallas over 6 that did not get home. Looked like we were going to sail there after we got 2-2 midway through the game, and then it just kind of died out. We had the Panthers Jackets under 6 -119. That gets there very comfortably, 1-0 in overtime. Oilers game we'll get to in a second. Canes Sharks under 6 -115, a comfortable winner. And then the Oilers game, 2 losers there. You get the bad news about no Draisaitl. A little bit unexpected there. So we get the bad number. Still like the Oilers after the no Draisaitl. I still like them at the new prices. Obviously, the market reacted. I was still fine with I added a little bit more on the Oilers. But at least you figure, okay, well, we got a great close now on this under, because the no Draisaitl at least helps that. Not only did the Oilers blow it late, McDavid gets hurt, Skinner gets hurt, Oilers in shambles as they lose in overtime, but the under also does not get home. That game really cost us what could have been a very good day. Give me your thoughts on yesterday's slates, best bets, anything else, any other takeaways?
Yeah, the Oilers game was tough. I did expect Draisaitl to play, and like you, I was fine with the pricing when he was out, and I would have played that again. Just McDavid gets hurt in the game as well, so I mean, at that point you're just hanging on and you're just trying to get lucky, and we didn't get lucky in that game. So I mean, there's plenty of games where it goes the other way for us. This time it didn't, so we just move on, man.
Yeah. I do want to talk about a couple other quick things from yesterday, a few little takeaways. One, I wanted to start with your Canucks. Obviously, they lose that game in overtime, but seeing them battle back a couple times to tie the game with 3 seconds left then in the end, that Besser slap shot, that was unreal. That was a lot of fun. I was watching the Habs game, obviously, but I had a kind of an eye on the Canucks game on another screen, and man, that felt like playoff-type atmosphere. Huge goal for Besser. To walk me through that, were you watching that one live, and how did that feel when that went in? It almost felt like the Canucks were going to go on and win the game after that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's just frustrating because like they've had some very good wins this season, right? Like, and to touch on your point that you made, you made a couple of times now where you feel that the Canucks have a higher ceiling than a lot of teams around them. And yeah, it's yeah, they do have a higher ceiling, and they have shown that with some very good wins this year. But the problem is the is the consistency, right? Even even during the game, they started off pretty good first couple of shifts, and then they just lost it, right? And then they get the lead back, and then within a couple of minutes, that's gone too, right? So like
Yeah.
that's what's frustrating. That game yesterday was a nice microcosm of the Canucks season as a whole, right? Where they show flashes of brilliance, and then they just kill themselves for like whatever reason. Like it's just frustrating. And like I think that if you look at what that game represented yesterday, it's probably indicative of like or foreshadowing what's going to happen when the Canucks fall just short of the playoffs, just like they did last night.
It's going to be a crazy race. Right now, they're a point back of the Blues, who are in the last wild card spot, but they do have a game in hand. That being said, they're only a point up of the Flames, who also have a game in hand over the Canucks, 2 games in hand over the Blues. It does feel like Utah is a bit more on the outside. They need to make a strong run here, but it's pretty tough. Like they're obviously only 4 points out with the game in hand over St. Louis, so it's not a mountain to climb, but it is tough to jump 3 teams like that. So,
Yeah.
Tougher path for Utah, definitely for sure. But should be a fun race down the stretch. Sens annihilated last night. That was really, really ugly. We talked about the Sens team and how they can kind of go through stretches, and mentally it feels like when things start going wrong for them, they can snowball. I think we saw that a little bit last night, just dismantled at the hands of the Avalanche, and now are all of a sudden being dragged back into this wild card race as well. I still ultimately think they'll be fine to make the playoffs, but some warning signs for sure there. And we talked about how much they're working Omar. Like he's playing a ton, and they're really leaning on him. He's not used to this big of a workload. He's had injury concerns in the past. Obviously, he goes again last night. Does not look good. Gets pulled. Are you concerned at all about the Senators?
There is slight concern, but I want to. I mean, I'm not going to come down on them too hard playing against Avalanche, right? Like
Yeah.
Colorado right now is a top 3 tier. It is a top 3 team for me right now, right? So I'm not going to. There's slight concern, but it's not big enough for me to overreact to this one game. Now, if they in the next couple of games when they're not playing Colorado, if they come up with these kind of efforts, then yeah, I'm going to be concerned, right? But I think Colorado right now, if Colorado brings their A game, and if they want to win that game, they're going to beat most teams in the league right now with the way they're playing. And if that team is not at their ceiling, they're going to kill them, right? So, yeah, I think that let's see the next couple of games here before I get worried about Ottawa.
Yeah, Sens in New Jersey on Saturday, but then a very, very manageable stretch coming up. Yeah, I mean, even that Devils game is not as daunting as maybe it would have once been. But after that, they go Buffalo, Detroit, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Buffalo. So definitely gets a little bit easier for them again after playing a top 5 team in the Habs the other night, and then a top 3 team in the Abs last night. So gets a little bit easier for them going forward. They also play Columbus 3 more times the rest of the way, which is wild. I don't think they played Columbus once this year then, because you play the other teams not in your division. Yeah, they played 3 games against Columbus down the stretch. Those should be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a struggle for me.
Yeah,
I hope they're all 3-point games.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Jackass. Very rude to my Habs. Touching on the Habs game quickly, that was a bit of a heartbreaker. Really, really good game to see them come out there, though, after that Sens game and not have a letdown, to come out and thought they were a little bit slow to start the game for sure. But going down 3-1, they were, I mean, even at 1-1, they were dominant for long stretches of that game. Obviously, Suzuki scores on the breakaway. That gets called back for offside. He was offside. It was the right call. I tweeted about it last night, and I have a lot of people in my mentions saying that, it's offside. What do you want? They got the call right. I'm not complaining about the call. It's just, I don't think it's in the spirit of the game, in my opinion. I think there's better ways to go about this. Like, the rule was put in place not to nitpick to this degree. It was put in place to avoid clear and obvious mistakes, like that one in the playoffs with the Avs that year. Like, that's what it's there to fix. It's not there to fix like he was literally a centimeter offside for, I don't know what the metric conversion is for these Americans watching, but like, it was so close. To sit there and review the game for 5 minutes and just suck the energy out of the building, I don't think there's a point in that. I think we need to come up with a better way to go about these, like something like you have a timer after the goal goes in. Coach has 30 seconds after the goal to determine whether or not they're going to challenge. They can't just sit there and hold things up, let them watch replay after replay upstairs before they make their decision. Give the coach 30 seconds to decide if he wants to challenge, and then give the replay crew maybe at most a minute. Give them a minute to sit there and look. If it's not clear and obvious within a minute, then it's fine. It's obviously not that big of a deal. Let the goal stand or let the call on the ice stand. I think you have to kind of implement some timers here, because we were sitting there for close to 5 minutes last night. Got to a point where I was like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, if he's offside, which he was, it's like the smallest of margins. Do we really need to sit here for this long to get this call like exactly right? I don't know. In my opinion, it's not in the spirit of the game, but maybe you have a different take and you side with the people in my mentions who were like, this is the whole reason we're doing this, to get every call right.
Yeah, I do have a slightly different take. I will agree with you about the timing of it, right? Like, there should be a time limit when you have to challenge, right? Like, it's like you can't just sit there watching like multiple replays on the Jumbotron, or like have somebody upstairs watching replays and like setting it down to you and stuff. Like, there should be a time limit. And I think even 30 seconds is too long. I think like 15 seconds, like or like they have like 16 seconds between face-offs now, right? Like, that's the time, right? 16 seconds. You need to let us know if you're going to challenge or not. If you're not, when the linesman's arm goes up, you're done, right? So I think that should be pretty cut and dry. In terms of the spirit of the rule, I understand what you're saying, right? But the problem is that this league has shown that when they add subjectivity to these things, then they get it wrong, right? You remember the year with you can't have a foot in the crease at all, and then the Stanley Cup winning goal is with the foot in the crease, right?
Yes,
so I mean,
yes, I do remember
right?
that.
So like, so this league has shown that like once you add layers of subjectivity to these things, they get it wrong, right? So unfortunately, it does need to be cut and dry. It does need to be that like if you're a centimeter offside, you're offside, and like if somebody wants to review that, it's going to get reviewed, and there should be time limits, right? The time to like challenge and the time to review as well. You can't be sitting there reviewing for 5 minutes, right? So 2 minutes, I think that's fair. If you can't determine after 2 minutes, then it's a call on the ice.
Right. Yeah, even if you have a 2-minute timer total. So like if the coach wants to take a full minute and 20 seconds to watch, the replays, then that gives the ref 40 seconds. You know what I mean? If the longer you take, the less time the ref has to watch the replay. I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't want to introduce subjectivity. I agree with you there for sure, because that does get, like, you look at the goaltender interference. The Habs had another goal last night that was challenged for goaltender interference, and it's like I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't think this is coming back. I think this is a good goal, but like also I have no idea what they're going to call it. I wouldn't be surprised either way. It's just that for the offside stuff, it's like I don't want them to be subjective with it. I just want it to be like, I don't think the rules in place to have it. I don't think the replay should be in place to like get everything exactly right, regardless of how long it takes. I think it should be more like, let's clean up the obvious mistakes. Let's get those out of the game. If a ref's in a bad position and the puck is, a guy's a foot offside before he brings the puck over, and that's called a good goal. Okay, yeah, you know what? That's bad. That probably does have more of an impact on the play. Ones like this have zero impact on the play. If he timed himself slightly better, it's not, it's just like, if it takes that long to review it, obviously it's so close that I think it's marginal. It doesn't really matter. I'm not saying that it should have counted. If they called it offside to begin with, that's fine. And the challenge, whatever, but like, you got to be able to detect it quickly to, in my opinion, to determine whether or not it should be disallowed. But again, I understand it from both sides. I'm not saying like it has to be changed. I just think they could speed this up a little bit, and that would help. I mean, people watching the game at home, because like I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is a great game in the Eastern Conference playoff race, and now like everything's exciting, the building's good, and then like it just sucks the life out of the game completely. It came to a standstill after that, but yeah, regardless, the Habs lose in overtime to the Islanders. They're still comfortably in a playoff spot right now after the Rangers lost in regulation, Columbus lost in overtime, Bruins lost again. Habs now 2 points up on the Isles. All of a sudden the most realistic challenger for this second wildcard spot with the Habs. Rangers 2 points back, but 2 games more played than the Habs, and the Jackets 3 points back with the same amount of games played. So Jackets are in action tonight, so we will get to that game right now. Columbus taking on Pittsburgh. We have the Jackets plus 118 at FanDuel. Penguins minus 142, total of 6.5 plus 100 to the over, minus 122 to the under there. So, Money, I'll let you lead us off here. I am a little bit concerned about this one from a Habs fan perspective because I do feel like Columbus is very, very alive in this game. I don't know if you agree here or not.
It's a Friday night. There's only one game on. I think it's a great time for our BJs. I played Columbus. I was very after last night's game against Florida. I was very impressed. I thought that even getting a point out of that game against a team that we knew what we were going to get out of Florida in terms of defense. We knew that they were going to tighten that game up, and I was very concerned with how Columbus would react in that situation, especially with the way that they've been playing. But what they did is that they played with Florida. They were right there. Yes, Florida should have won that game, and they deservedly won that game. Florida is the better team. But it was nice to see Columbus hang with them the whole way. So I was very impressed. I did play Columbus. I think that Pittsburgh went on their run there with Jari, and they sucked me in against the Islanders as well the other night. But I think that we're getting back to an equilibrium with them. We're getting back to what this team is, and I think that that this is a good situation for Columbus to take advantage of a team that's probably going to start struggling again. And for their part, Columbus went on their downswing, and now, like we've seen throughout this playoff race with all these teams that are around 500 or around the 8 spots, they're going to go up and down. So Columbus had their downswing, and I think that after that, or during that Florida game, they were starting to find their game a little bit. So I think that Columbus, unfortunately for you, I think that Columbus is going to be on an upswing right now.
Yeah, I gotta say they looked good last night, and they looked good in a lot of their recent games. They've deserved better. I do agree with you that I think Columbus is the right side here. I think they're very much live. Sean Monahan, Cole Sillinger, all these guys are also close to returning. It's possible they get 1 or 2 of them back tonight, which is also significant for them here. They've been fine in back-to-backs, not really worried about that. Pittsburgh had that little upswing in results, but their play did not get better whatsoever, really. Aside from that Devils game, they haven't looked good. It was just Jari who was playing really well, but definitely not a team I am scared of, and not a team that should be laying this sort of number. Some two-way battle in the market too. We've seen a bit of support for both sides, which you don't really see too often these days. But I guess with just the one game, people are a little bit more willing to fire here. And I am in agreement with you. I do think the Jackets are the right side at this number. This is a little bit too much market respect for a bad Pens team. So we will double best bet the Jackets for tonight. That is the only bet we're going to have for tonight, unfortunately, because there is just the one game. No anytime goal parlay, no anything like that. I appreciate James coming in here and sending one anyways. He likes Jenner or Tomasino tonight. Yeah, hopefully Jenner scores. Jordan in the chat says McKinnon, Hart plus 600 still out there. So that Draisaitl news yesterday caught me a little bit off guard, especially then when Knobloch said they want to make sure he's just very healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That to me, and then he said he's game to game. I've heard that before. I've heard that many times. Being located in Toronto, I've heard the day-to-day turn into week-to-week many times this season alone. I know what this is. This is not a situation where he's going to be playing a ton down the stretch, I don't think, at least for the next little while. What I did, I instantly bet some Hellebuck. There's plus 250, plus 300 out there. I bet some McKinnon as well, plus 900, plus 950. That is down a little bit now. I still think that McKinnon is good at these prices. Less inclined to bet Hellebuck right now at that price, but I still like the McKinnon ones. What else I did was I went into the Art Ross race, and FanDuel, I will give FanDuel a lot of credit. FanDuel very, very quick to adjust on that Draisaitl news. They got McKinnon out to like, -2, a little over -200. Now it's -240. They got him out there quickly, but a lot of other books were not as quick to move. I bet a lot of McKinnon at Ross yesterday. McKinnon gets hurt, I will be in shambles because I am very, very heavily invested right now in McKinnon Art Ross. I gave that out on the channel mid-season as well. So that is in our futures portfolio. But yeah, I added a lot to that yesterday as well. Are you in agreement with these? Any other ways you kind of attack this news, or is that kind of it?
No, I'm in full agreement. With the Hart, I think that McKinnon has the edge there, obviously at that price, but it's also we've talked about Hellebuck, and like it's very hard for a goaltender to win. So Connor's going to win the Vezina. That's done, right?
Yes.
But it's very hard for a goaltender to win both of those, right? And I think that if I'm right with the way that I feel that the rest of the Jets season is going to go, I think that his stock is gonna decrease quite a bit, right? So I've laid out my theory on Hellebuck. As the games get tighter, as there's more traffic in front of the net, I think that he's going to start struggling, right? It's one thing to have a all-star defense when you're playing behind USA, and to have a defense when you're playing with Winnipeg in the NHL, right? So again, it's not to. I know I'm going to get comments about you're a Jets hater and all that, right? Like, I'm not a Jets hater. It's just that I think they're overvalued. So I'm trying to find an edge for me to make money, right? And like part of that is my determination that I think Hellebuck is going to start struggling as we go down the stretch here, right? And so another part of that, and it's my job to figure out where I can get in to bet on my opinions, right? So if I think the Jets are going to struggle, then that means Hellebuck's going to struggle, which means that McKinnon at 6-1 has value, and I would like to bet that, right? If I think Jets going to struggle, I think they're going to struggle in the first round, and if they play St. Louis, I think that's a bad matchup. So I need to find an edge in order for me to bet that, right? So like that's just the way it works.
Yeah, 100%. Get comments about being a Jets hater. It's going to be hilarious when the Jets and Canucks meet in the first round this year in the playoffs. That should be fun. But yeah, I don't think there's any other ways to really attack it. I think I saw a pathway for a little while there, and I had some investment in Kucherov Hart as well. I think that's kind of dead at this point, though. I don't, even if Tampa wins the division, I think a lot would have to happen for him to get there. I don't think I'm that inclined to jump on Kuch at this point still. We saw Ron in the chat who said, if Kill goes off the last 15 games, he could enter the chat, presently 150-1. Again, that's kind of like the Hellebuck situation where Hellebuck, like Vezina, and it's hard to win the Vezina and Hart. I don't know. Have we seen someone win the Norris and Hart in the same season? Because obviously he's gonna go win the Norris. I'm not sure if someone's won the Norris and the Hart in the same season. He's definitely going to win the Norris at this point. It's hard. I think it's going to be tough for him to get both. 150-1 though. I know for me personally, I've definitely made worse bets. So at 150-1, I don't think it's the worst thing to take a flyer on.
Yeah, I think the pricing makes sense, right? He's 150-1, right? And and he's an elite player, and anything could happen like down the stretch in terms of again, McKinnon could get hurt, right? Like we don't know, right? And if McKinnon does get hurt, and if Hellebuck struggles, then and Draisaitl's out, then that's the path right there. So I just feel there's too many things that need to fall perfectly into place for that to happen. But then again, you're getting 150-1 for that to happen. So I don't think it's a bad bet. I just think there's a lot to happen for that to win.
Yeah, good call by Ron. I didn't know this. I had to just Google it to verify. Pronger did. Only 2 players in NHL history have done
Well, that's
that.
interesting.
Pronger did in 99, 2000. He won the Hart and Norris. And then Bobby Orr won both in 69, 70, 70, 71, 71, 72. 3 straight Harts, 3 straight Norrises. That's a pretty dominant run, I would say. All right. I think that's it.
Charles Hudson going to steal the Calder from Celebrini.
Yes,
So
I do.
honestly,
I really so.
I'm starting to get worried about that.
I think you should be very concerned.
Yeah.
I think this is Hudson's award at this point. I think he'd have to fall off a little bit. Celebrities looked a little bit like you feel bad for him. He's in such a terrible situation, right?
Yeah.
It's a really difficult situation. No one cares about the Sharks games at this point. He's buried on like the West Coast, not in a good market. He's a great player, but he's also not producing that much right now. What Hudson's doing right now is very impressive. Obviously, I agree with what Will's saying too. I don't think it has to be Wolf, but I honestly think Wolf is a lot more live than 19-1 that he is right now on FanDuel. I mean, it's tough for a goalie to win this award, and that, the game the other night against the Leafs doesn't help his cause. We'll see how he does down the stretch here. But if he's able to, it's just his pathway is a little tougher because Hudson doesn't really have to do much more down the stretch. He just has to kind of keep doing what he's doing, produce average points down the stretch. Wolf has to not black out, but he has to be fantastic down the stretch and get the Flames into a playoff spot. If the Flames don't make the playoffs, with him as the catalyst for that, I don't think he's going to be able to pass these guys. But I think Hudson, honestly, this is kind of a hashtag wrong team, wrong player favorite situation right now, where he's plus 110 on FanDuel, Celebrini minus 145. I think that should be kind of flipped right now.
Yeah, and to touch on your point too, in terms of he doesn't have to do much. His team is doing all the work for him in terms of getting eyes on their games, right? And a lot of times for voters, that's what's important with Celebrini for us that watch all the games and watch he's outstanding, right? But most people and most writers and most people that cover the teams, they don't watch games like we do, right? So there's a lot that they miss out on, Celebrini, where if he's not lighting up the score sheet, he's not showing up on the radar. Where all Montreal games are on everybody's radar right now because it's such a nice story, right? And it's a young team coming together, making a playoff push, and we love that. If you're not a Habs fan or if you're not a Habs hater, right, or you're not a Leafs fan or whatever, who doesn't love that, right? So
yeah.
I think he's getting a lot of eyeballs because of that as well, just because of what the team is doing.
Also, I had speaking of Habs hater, Rob's comments on Wednesday about the joke Rob made about uneducated Habs fans and they're just Neanderthals or whatever. I wasn't paying attention, obviously, and that clip went up there and that caught a bit of steam on Edgework. I had people now in my mentions for the last 2 days, or in my DMs being you're such a fucking fake Habs fan. You don't know shit. You hate this team and this and that. People are on me, don't talk about the Habs. And I'm oh, Jesus Christ. What is happening right now? So I'm having to deal with that. That's been fun. I appreciate that, Rob, for putting me on blast like that. That's what I get for trying to watch spring training lineups, as we're doing the show. Clearly, I was not listening to anything he said in that, and then I finally tuned in. I was wait a sec, what the hell is going on here? And then of course, producer clips it and puts it up there and makes me look like an idiot. What are you gonna do?
The funniest thing is that I read certain people's replies, I find it entertaining, right? So Rob is one of those guys where I just go through Rob's Twitter and I read the replies that people send him about shit. And it's unbelievable entertainment, very underrated.
Yes,
right.
It is.
And the extent to the extent of people taking it personally and thinking he was sitting there
so clearly making a joke. Clearly making a joke.
Yeah, it was just it was outstanding, right? So Rob's one of those guys, one of the Twitter accounts that I when I need some entertainment, I would advise this for anybody. Just go read through Rob's mentions one day, right? It's outstanding entertainment.
Yeah. So Will says, any chance of weekend picks tomorrow? Will 100%
Yeah, let's do it.
We have not tweeted them out in the last couple of weeks. That is on me. I will own that one. I've had a couple busy weekends, family stuff back to back, but I will be 100% here tomorrow to tweet out some plays. If anything, I think actually there's a bunch of games tomorrow because there's just the one tonight. We have 14 games tomorrow. So money. I think we can commit to this. 2 best bets each. You're going to send 2 best bets. I'm going to send 2 best bets, and we'll get 2 best bets from Rob. We'll get 6 bets tweeted out tomorrow. How do you think? What do you think about
Sounds
that?
good. Maybe more, just depending on how
maybe
how,
more.
how-
Maybe
how
more.
the
So we
prices
will
are.
get a minimum 6 bets tweeted out tomorrow. We'll try and tweet them out a little bit earlier in the day too, instead of waiting for noon. We'll try and get them out around the show time at 10:30. So I will be on hand to do that. I will make sure that tweet gets out somewhere in that 10 to 11 o'clock window, so you can keep an eye out for those. That'll do it for us today. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. We still managed to do a 30-minute show despite just the one game. To recap the best bet for tonight, it is the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 120. That is it. A double best bet on Columbus. Nothing else for us tonight. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Make sure you're following Edric on Twitter, Edric HQ as well, because those bets will come out tomorrow. You don't want to miss those. Appreciate it. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy your weekends, and good luck on your bets.